Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone is well. Welcome to the Toon Review, where tonight it is, it's time to focus on what is commonly known as the greatest show on earth, the World Cup, which kicks off on Sunday with Qatar against Ecuador. There's been some very strange reports about that game, but we'll discuss that a little bit later on. Some very fishy activities apparently have gone on. You know what the rumor mill is like, but we will talk about that a bit later. Obviously, this is a two-part show, so we're covering 4 groups tonight and 4 groups again on Saturday's part 2. So if you see the screen now, the groups that we're covering tonight are on the bottom. We're going to start in and go in reverse order. So we'll start with Group H, Group G, Group F, and Group E, and then on Saturday we'll be looking at A, B, C, and D, which, of course, Group B is England. So we'll cover England closer to their time of kickoff, which, of course, is Monday at 1 o'clock. And you can join the Toon Review live for a watch-along for that game. We will be doing plenty watch-alongs during the World Cup, so stay tuned. Hit the notification bell on the channel, and that will let you know. So, as usual, if you do enjoy tonight's show, please do hit that like button. And if you're new and like what you see, why not subscribe to the Toon Review, become part of this amazing community, and, of course, hit that notification bell as well. And you can donate to the show as usual tonight by hitting that $sign at the bottom of the live comments. That will take you through to your preferred payment method. So thank you in advance, everybody, for that as well. We'll go through a few comments, but before we get started, Alex, obviously you were at the awards last night. You're feeling a bit of the old matchsticks in the eyes tonight for a late night, but what was the whole experience like? Obviously, we didn't win. We weren't in the top 3. That belonged to, I believe, who won it? Was it Man City that won it?
City Extra, I believe.
City Extra, and then there was an Arsenal channel there, I believe, and a Liverpool one. Am I right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so they were the top 3. So unfortunately, we weren't there, but we were the top 8. And listen, that is a fantastic achievement for us, given the size of some of the channels we were against. But there's always next year, and as soon as the voting starts up to get us in again next year, so hopefully that will happen. But sum the night up, Alex. I mean, what was the experience like?
Well, I just felt very honoured and privileged because there were people there that I've known in social media. Well, I've watched them and I've been aware of their content for almost a decade.
Yeah.
So for you viewers and subscribers to have put me at a table among people I've watched and admired for a decade is ridiculous. Quite frankly, it's insane. So thank you for voting for the channel and for all 4 of us.
Yeah.
And even for people that contribute in terms of mods and Francisco and anybody I may have forgotten. It's crazy. It was crazy to be there with some of the representation that was there. Good to spend an evening with Matty from Magpie Channel and obviously Adam P. And it was funny having a bunch of NUFC fans at the same table, straight in for the Heinekens. Obviously I was driving, so I had to be careful. The 0%'s there.
Yeah.
But it was good. A lot of big personalities around, a lot of companies trying to sell interesting products. They were trying to push. Oh God, they obviously didn't do a very good job with the branding. So I forgot the name of it. It was something. Was it something soccer? It was. You sit at a table opposite each other, and there's like nets underneath, and you've got little goals, and you have to like kick the ball one way or the other and try and score. So it's like under table football essentially. And it was a laugh. It was all right. Yeah. But it was a good evening. It was a very, very good evening.
Good. And hopefully many more to come. Ricard Anderson, thank you for your 50 Swedish krona. Love having a World Cup in the winter without Sweden in it and having a cold beer outside in the freezing cold. Yeah. Billy, this one for you. Evening all. So Ashley completes commentary takeover. Is bitch, I mean Bruce for manager. Well, there's a problem with that solo because all he's bought is the football ground, not the team. The team is being bought by an other, who I believe also put in for the stadium, Billy, which is a bit bizarre.
Yeah, he even offered more for the stadium than what Mike Ashley did. but because he didn't enter the fray until too late in the process, the administrators decided to give the stadium to Mike Ashley. He bought it at £17 million, whereas Doug King, the new owner of the football club itself, offered £25 million for it. So all in all, if Mike Ashley wanted to quickly switch over and gain £8 million, he could sell it tonight to Doug King for £8 million, but I don't think he's going to do that.
Well, it's going to be another cash cow for him, isn't it? I mean, is Doug King has he definitely bought the team, Billy? Is that confirmed?
Just waiting for the Football League's test to come through, but yeah, financially wise, yes.
Right. Okay. Because Solo thought he was going to do the stadium and then the full takeover, but that's not the case. It'd be interesting to see if he does get it in the future, of course. Good evening, Ian. Truls, good evening to you. Tom. We've got another. Truls, thank you very much for your 100 Norwegian krona. Can't wait for the league to start again. You've got a bit of a wait, my friend. Jacka, good evening to you. James, evening TTR. I'd love Bruno to come back a World Cup winner. Brazil for me, you're going to take some stopping, I think, this World Cup. Good evening, James. Stu says evening all. I'm going to say a quick hello to everyone now because we are. And then he disappears. Not the greatest day weather-wise, says James. Absolutely not. I think
I've got a point about that Brazil training as well. I've seen that picture of Dani Alves tackling somebody. Yeah, be careful, please, with our midfielder. Dani Alves went in behind with a 2-footed challenge and put his boot into someone's ankle. So yes, please don't do that to Bruno.
Yes, he did. Now, what we are going to do as well is when we talk about each group, we're going to put a poll up, which will get your feedback to see who you think are going to be in what order in the group. So obviously, whoever votes for the most for the winner of the group, we will see who's probably going to finish bottom through all the votes. So that's going to be very, very interesting as well. Les H, thank you for your membership. I think that might be a renewal, but thank you for your support. If you do want to become a member of the Toon Review, of course, just hit the join button and lots of prizes will be coming up over this World Cup period. Obviously, James on about the weather there. It's supposed to rain here until tomorrow night. Now, given the height of the river, when I picked Ben up from school, I think that may be just a tad over the top and onto the roads tomorrow. So time will tell. Ian Fleming, thank you for your £10 super chat. He says, with you, Billy, Alex, Danielle, and all the great mods and great content you have, you will win it next year, Paul. Well, he is hoping. He is hoping. We will see in 12 months' time, but we'll let everybody know when you can start voting again, and hopefully we'll get to be a finalist again. Spike says, evening, everyone. Hope you're all good. Time for the show. Matt says, good evening from a beautiful morning down under. I'm sure it is into your summertime. Julie J, good evening. Everybody's saying hi, 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 hi. Ian says, I drew Qatar in the World Cup sweep at work. Oh, dear.
Well, don't worry, they might get a bit of help. So,
well, yes.
Samuel Eto'o predicted Qatar to meet us in the second round and knock us out.
Well, that's very interesting. Yeah. Tony Hunter got Cameroon. Mitch says, hey all, can we get Roy to record a vlog for any of the matches he attends? We are going to try and sort something out with Roy, don't worry. Chippers, thank you very much for your £10 super chat, my friend. He says, see, Saudi Airlines confirmed for NUFC. Can we touch on this quickly? It's not official sponsorship yet. It's just they haven't announced any official sponsorship. People have been jumping the gun here. They're not the club sponsor.
They're just in partnership for the warm weather training camp.
Partnership for the warm weather. That's all it is at the minute. Now, we know that may expand as time goes on. But at the minute, we are not going to sit here and say that they are the new sponsors of Newcastle United because they aren't. It is not official. So when they become official, Chippers, we will talk about it, my friend. Ian the Spoon Seller's in. Good evening, buddy. Paul Tully says, evening, everyone. Lord knows how this World Cup is going to go. Can we go for NUFC to win it? Mansell says, evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Pilo Keith, good evening. Darren Bloomer, he's going for Brazil to win this. Alan says, Paul, first question from me. How is Danielle? Is she doing okay? And will we see her soon? Speedy recovery, Danielle. Yeah, she will be back. We haven't put a time limit on it. She just needs a bit of time out to get her personal life sorted and things to do in the house, things to do at work, etc. So she's okay, and she'll come back. We haven't put a time limit on it. Just come back when she's sorted and ready to go again. So don't worry, she's okay. Same from Foxy there about Danielle. KB says, good evening, gentlemen. He is fabulous bunch, all well and cool from Belfast. Garant Kuwal to win the World Cup. I'd be astonished if Australia win the World Cup. Darren says Sadio Mane is out of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is he officially out? Because I know they took him despite being injured.
Officially out.
Oh, dear.
Wow. Okay. Because I saw some betting odds for top scorers in the World Cup, and he was about 10th earlier on this afternoon. So, well, there you go. We'd have a chance with the players not going. Joe Linton, Target, and Byrne. War Bruno could be a World Cup winner. Indeed, he could. Good evening, Jack. Hope you're well, matey. England to beat Argentina in the final.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be nice.
With a handball winner.
Yes. You know,
Messi to handle it in the box and give us a 90th minute penalty. Oh, the retribution.
Absolutely. Or Callum Wilson rising like a swan against their goalkeeper and it comes off the back of his hand. It goes in, but it gets given. Well, it won't be with VAR. Of course,
I want Maradona's heir to handle the ball in the box and give a pen away, and then we win. That is the only way that wrong is then righted.
Yeah. I suppose you're right. Keith is obviously going for the USA. I don't think so, matey. Judging by the way the USA have been playing, I have a good feeling Italy will beat Sweden in the final 7-5. Well, Sweden aren't even there, so that's that prediction out the window. You what, Billy?
No, Italy.
Exactly. So it might have been a sarcastic comment. Okay, that's Cesare just chatting there. Hi, TTR. Hope you're all well. Brazil or Argentina, I think, will win. They're certainly being highly backed, I have to say.
Not a lot of faith in the European teams here, despite the fact we had France, Croatia, Germany, England in in the European final, Italy in the European final.
The European teams have won the last, let's work it out. Well, there hasn't been a non-European winner since 2002. So it'd be a long time since a South America winner or someone else, of course.
Absolutely.
Netherlands are back in this year as well.
Indeed. How are the lads? £6.10. Welcome to the membership club. Thank you very much for your support, my friend. Ian says, any manscaping products available for Paul Alex last night? I've got them. I don't need to have them available. They sent me all the goods.
We did have pretty kitted out tables, though. I don't know if I haven't posted it, but Adam P posted our table, and we had sticker books and tons of booster packs of football stickers. But they were last season, so we were opening them. And I got Nick Pope in a Burnley shirt. And I think Adam got Tarkovsky in a Burnley shirt. And we were like, oh no, we don't want these.
The Bournemouth fans felt
Well, yeah, I got a few Norwich players in the packs as well. I got Timo Pukki. I was like, no, you don't belong here.
Ouch. Ian says 16 quid a pint in Qatar, apparently. Wouldn't put it past.
I heard it was 12, but both are equally as bad as each other.
Yeah. Yard Sale says Canada coming in hot. Spacebar says Coventry City have our utmost sympathy dealing with that fat, useless prick.
There is one bright side to it. I could abuse him again from a pretty close area if I do.
Yes,
if he's
you
kind
can.
of going to the ground.
You can.
Yeah.
Good evening, Angelica. Hope you're well. Scooby says Monster Energy, then Saudi Airline. Woo, boy, that's quite something. Well, the unwashed down the road got to travel from Newcastle Airport to get to Saudi for their friendly. They went awfully quiet. Well, they're not playing in Saudi. They're playing in the United Arab Emirates. But they are going out there, funny enough. It would be the perfect send-off for Messi. I think she means Messi. John Bruce says, I couldn't give a toss about this World Cup. First time ever. Just get on with it. Get it done. And let's get back to the Premiership. 2 points from second place. We can do this.
I'll say what I said last week. Just remember, there's a high possibility that somebody in this World Cup will be putting on a black and white shirt at some point. You know, we're likely to sign much higher caliber players from now on. So we're not, and they're not all going to be like super youngsters. So somebody at this World Cup might be coming to us in the next 2-3 years. You never know. It's worth keeping your eyes open.
As long as it's not Eric Dyer, it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Darren says, surprise team to have a good World Cup will be Portugal. They've got some class players. Yeah, but the problem is with Portugal.
Is that a surprise?
They never seem to. I mean, yes, they won. I think it was the Euros. They won, didn't they, a few years back? But
no, it was the Nations League.
Nations League. Yeah, no, they did win a big tournament.
Oh well, yeah, they won the Nations League way before the.
They
won the
Euros
before
didn't
that.
Yeah.
That was quite a while ago now, though.
Yeah, but they just don't. I just don't. Nah, not for me. Ian says, what do you make of the FA charging Tony? Now, you did, Alex, I think you mentioned this, that was possibly a reason why he didn't go to the World Cup, was because obviously Southgate was tipped off that was going to happen. What do you reckon?
Well, I think he's a fool. I thought he'd gotten over this nonsense. And then the fact that he's defending himself publicly, putting his hands in his ears when he scored. 232 charges.
Yeah.
200. When Kieran Trippier got banned, it was for essentially telling his mate that he was probably going to transfer somewhere, and there were no bets placed. It was just the idea of potentially that being able to happen got him a ban. So for 232 separate instances of betting.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's been so outspoken, and the whole F Brentford video and all of the nonsense. You know, he needs to take some responsibility for his own behavior and his own actions, because he seems like a fairly nice guy when he wants to be and a decent footballer. But he's gone. He's gone. I'm not sure we'll see him play in the Premier League again. Not for a long time.
Absolutely. Is it TTR Friday tomorrow? Yes, Chip, as it is. Usual time. Foxy says Miggy came off yesterday early in the second half against Peru with a muscle injury. He's been released from the Paraguay squad today and will return home. Yeah, he'll be fit for when the Premier League season kicks off, no doubt. Mike says Mane was in Qatar advertising campaign too. Money. Yeah, see where you went there with the little ABBA thing. Jackie says England against Brazil in the final. Are we going to see another USA England draw? Wouldn't surprise us, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise you, would it?
Unless we pull Robert Green out of the woodwork to playing goals, absolutely no chance.
Jesus.
It's just fouled out, so I remember rightly.
Yeah. Darren says Ecuador should have been kicked out of this World Cup for cheating. Jack says I'm going for an Argentina World Cup win. USA to give England a fight, though both play uninspired football. Carl says, yes, Billy, but every time you come out the end of Hendon Lane, you're going to be looking at Sports Direct signs.
Hen Lane, he means, not Hendon.
Oh, well, Hendon Lane, there you go. I mean, it is just going to be covered in Sports Direct again, Billy.
And flannels and House of Fraser and all the other shite he owns, yeah.
Lonsdale
will be a big
Donny,
one, yeah.
Head, Kangol.
All the old ones. Right. So the first group we're going to take a look at today is Group H, which has Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. Now, Portugal are playing tonight, I believe, Alex. Just talk us through how that game is going on just while I set this poll up.
Yeah, they're playing right now. Portugal versus Nigeria in the 75th minute. Portugal are 2-0 up with, I believe, 2 Bruno Fernandes goals. Yeah, with an assist from Diego Dallo. One was a penalty, of course. Yeah, they're not looking bad at all. They've got a big squad, despite the whole Ronaldo malarkey. Do you want us to start the proper dive into Portugal, or is this just the fact they're playing tonight?
No. Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of underrating them. I mean, they're what is their world ranking right now? They're ranked 9th, so inside the top 10, and they are absolutely stacked compared to in recent tournaments. And let's not beat around the bush, as we've discussed. They have won a few of those recently. Up front, boasting Ronaldo, Andre Silva, Gonçalo Ramos, who we were interested in. They've also got João Felix from Atletico Madrid, so they're not shy on forwards at all. Midfield is pretty redonkulous. with João Mario, Danilo Pereira, William Carvalho was kind of the slightly older, tougher midfielders. And then you can throw in Ruben Neves, Vitinha, Bernardo Silva from City, obviously Bruno Fernandes himself, Otavio for Porto.
Who's
and
played
also,
Swansea? Is he there? The lad from Swansea that used to play for Swansea. He's been playing fantastically abroad. I can't think what his name is. What's his name? You know what I mean, don't you?
While you're thinking of that name, just to let you know,
Renato Sanchez.
The poll is now up at the top of the live comments for who you think will win Group H. So get voting away, and let's see how those finish. Carry on, Alex.
No Renato Sanchez in the squad, despite playing a lot better recently. Surprising. They've also got Rafael Leao from AC Milan, the winger, who's very tidy as well. Midfielders, very competent. They've got João Cancelo, Ruben Diaz, even Diego Dallo, who's playing a lot better. Pepe, who is apparently still young enough to play football.
Jesus Christ.
And then the goalkeepers, they are absolutely stacked as well. Rui Patricio, who's at Roma. They got Jose Sarr from Wolves, and of course Diogo Costa from Porto, who is one of the most rated keepers in Europe at the moment, who is a penalty save machine, freak beast, who just I think he's not saved one yet or something. I'll have to go and have a look at that, but he's got some freakish penalty save statistic. So Portugal not doing bad. They lost to Spain recently, 1-0. They lost to Switzerland. Fabian shares Switzerland recently. But they're winning most of their matches. They're a really, really stacked, strong team. They can play in a couple of different ways. They are no joke, no pushovers at all. So I think they look a lot more serious than they did in recent tournaments. Even the fact that Ronaldo's kind of aging out. So, yeah, strong. Do you want to move on to next?
Well, Ronaldo, I mean, you look at Portugal and you think, oh, Ronaldo, and but do you think anything will happen? Anything, the bad feeling going on with Man United at the minute, and certainly what we saw with Bruno and Ronaldo in the dressing room, that did not look comfortable. Now,
with who? Sorry,
Bruno and Ronaldo.
Who?
Bruno Fernandes.
Okay.
It didn't look very comfortable. Now, obviously, Ronaldo is captain of Portugal. Will that cause any unrest, do you think?
I mean, for the purposes of the Toon review and the show, possibly. For my personal opinion, I couldn't give a toss because I hate both of them at the moment. Well, I don't hate Ronaldo. I've loved his career, but I just don't like everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
And in a professional capacity, it might cause some problems because they might get to a situation where, his age might be a factor in pressing and playing in different ways and the versatility of the squad. Whether his ego, whether he's going to play deeper or play at all, who knows? I think he's got more influence in the Portugal side. I mean, everybody remembers the European final when he got injured and he was standing on the sidelines, effectively being a second manager, which was really inspiring. But at the same time, I think everybody needs to take a leaf out of Alan Shearer's book and retire when it's time to retire, and especially internationally as well. He probably gave up a tournament or two too early. Shearer did. I think Ronaldo needs to let go.
I think Nigeria might be getting a penalty here.
Interesting. Rani Granny says Coventry is the only place Sports Direct signs can go up, and it increases the property values.
Can't disagree with that, to be fair.
Christian says, I see Ronaldo has gone from world-class winger to world's best whinger. I hope we don't sign him. I can't see that in a million bloody years, to be honest. Foxy says Uruguay will win the group. Does anyone think the Ronaldo interview will cause bad morale in the Portugal team? That's what we've just been discussing there. Billy, what's your thoughts on it? Do you think there'll be a bit of aggro there?
Yeah, I do. I've always had this kind of sneaky feeling that Cristiano Ronaldo looks down his nose at Bruno Fernandes anyway. Even when he's played for Manchester United, he didn't seem to go and celebrate goals whenever he scores and vice versa. I don't think they like each other. They have got to put a penalty on Nigeria, by the way, which they've missed. Good save with the keeper. Might be that keeper you're on about, Alex. Yeah, so yeah, I think there might be a little bit of animosity there, and I'm not sure Ronaldo's going to start anyway. I think he's going to be kind of.
You don't think he'll start?
No, I think he'll come on as a sub. I think the vast majority of the tournament he'll come on as a sub,
even though he's captain.
Yeah, even though he's captain.
Interesting.
I mean, you've got João Felix playing consistently, and there are other forwards playing a lot more minutes than him, and can press. Ronaldo's on like 9 pressures per 90 or something.
But it depends on what the Portuguese manager's feeling is on Ronaldo. Is he just the god that has to play?
Depends on his bottle.
Yeah. Is Luis Suarez still playing international football?
He is indeed. We will get to him when we get to Uruguay.
Indeed. Portugal and Ronaldo will be determined to beat Slabhead, Trashford and Shaw if England play them at any stage. England have to get out of the group first. Suarez still playing, yep. So Julie's going for Uruguay in second. Norvik says, I will be happy if we can beat Germany on penalties. Maguire and Dyer in the squad. We've got no chance. John's backdoor, good evening. Cesare says, English only in the chat, please. 3-0 to Portugal. If you have trouble with English, you must want to translate before posting. Indeed. Both teams have some great players. Nice one, Alex. There's only one Bruno. All right. Nathan says Uruguay, dark horses for me. Nunez, Valverde, Bentancur, Arajo, all good players. Alex, take it away with Uruguay.
Okay, jumping the gun because they're last in the group. Right, so Uruguay, ranked 14th. People have already listed a lot of the good players. They're not as stacked as they've been in previous years, but it's quite decent. A decent midfield this time. Their only loss in recent times coming from a 1-0 loss against Iran, which is quite poor. Although Iran ranked 20th, so not too bad. With of course Roy's favourite Azmoun up front, who's not bad at all. So very stacked squad. Of course, the midfield they've got Matias Vecino, who plays in Italy, Bentancur, who we know is exceptional, and Valverde as well. So they've got a very, very competent midfield. In fact, a Champions League quality midfield. Is very, very tidy. Darwin Nunez and of course Luis Suarez up front. They still do have Cavani, who's at Valencia, still playing, still going to be a weapon, potentially very useful in international football in the dressing room and to come on and be a threat and be annoying. Other names, they've got Lucas Torreira still floating around. Who else have they got? Diego Godin is still being used, and of course Araujo, who was just mentioned in the chat. I'm not really familiar with any of their goalkeepers who will play. A few of them play in South America and stuff. I'm not super familiar with them. Sebastian Coates as well for Sporting's in there. So they've got a fairly balanced squad. A couple getting on a bit with Godin and Cavani. You need them in major
4-0 Portugal.
Like that.
Wow.
Oh, bloody hell. Who scored the third and fourth?
Ramos got the third. It's basically FIFA sweats both third and fourth goal. I think the fourth was Antonio something. I can't see what his name is. No, it's João Felix. João Felix.
Yeah, so Uruguay, it's a good group. It's a really good group. It's definitely a group I would recommend watching some games in because Portugal are absolutely stacked. Uruguay are no joke at all. They're a very balanced side. And if they can get most of the decent names in the starting 11, it looks really, really strong. I don't know what happened in the loss to Iran because they actually fielded a really good side. They fielded Suarez, Nunez.
Well, maybe Iran are going to be dark horses. You never know. Foxy says De La Cruz from the left is the one to watch out for from River Plate.
Yeah, Nicolas de la Cruz from River. Yeah, I've not seen him play. It'll be interesting. This is why the World Cup's great. You can learn a lot of new players, and a lot of these players end up getting moves to Europe, and then from then on might move into the Premier League from European clubs. It's a good way to learn about new players.
Darren's saying there that Uruguay only just made the World Cup. Well, you know, so have Argentina in times gone by. So have Brazil. It's a very, very their qualification for the World Cup is just a roller coaster every time. It really is. Right, who else have we got in that group? Let's have a look. We've got Ghana. So do you want to have a look at Ghana, Alex?
Yeah, so this is my favorite team in the group. I think these are brilliant. I'm not sure how they will do. They're ranked 61st, but I just think they could be a really exciting team if they can click and not get too dominated. In recent times, they lost to Brazil 3-0. Is completely fair enough. But they're beating some reasonably good teams. They beat Nigeria 2-0. They managed to beat Chile on penalties despite getting a couple of red cards. And they also beat Switzerland most recently, which was today. They beat Switzerland today in the morning.
Wow.
Which is strange because Fabian Schär started that game as well for Switzerland. So it was very good for Ghana. I think you would like the Ghanese. Is it? No, not Ghanese. That's wrong. It's Ghanaian, isn't it? You say Ghanaian.
Yeah.
I think you would like the Ghanaian lineup because they have Iñaki Williams up front as their main man. They have the Ayew brothers, Jordan and Andre Ayew, are still both there. I think Ayew's gone to the Middle East. Andre Ayew's gone to the Middle East, but Jordan is still at Crystal Palace, I believe. Yeah. I think he's still at Palace. They've got Daniel Amate from Leicester, Salisu. They've got Baba Rahman, who the fullback used to be at Chelsea. Also, Tariq Lamptey. They've managed to claim him, or he's claimed them, whichever way around it is.
Wow, I didn't realise Lamptey had gone. Bloody hell!
Well, he played today, so.
They've got quite a good squad together of Ghana.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished there. There's more. They've also got Semenyo from Brentford up front. They've got Thomas Partey in midfield. They also have the tricky winger that we were linked with, Kamaldeen Sulemana. The kind of reminds me of Maxi. Got an assist today against Switzerland. It's pretty stacked. The goalkeepers, I've never heard of any of them, and none of them play inside the top 5 leagues. The big 5 leagues, but they've got enough names to have a reasonably familiar starting 11. A lot of people will recognize a lot of faces and a lot of names in the squad. I think I've not really seen them play much, but I'm interested too. I think they've got some exciting players in there, so I wouldn't completely write off Ghana because anything can happen in 90 minutes of football. You don't get many games in a group. So if you can get a shock victory, you might get out your group.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see on Ghana. Now, the what I would call the sort of minnows in the group would be South Korea. But they have in the past had extremely good international tournaments. Are they worth watching out for, do you think, Alex?
I'll rebuttal the first one and say I think they were assisted greatly in the World Cup.
Well, maybe so, but
they were because the referee got banned.
Well, all right, we'll forget about that.
They shouldn't have gotten as far as they did when they were. Was it Japan and South Korea that hosted?
Yeah, somewhere like that. Yeah.
They weren't supposed to get that far. It was fixed. The referee was banned.
But history tells us that they did, Alex. So we'll just. I mean, are they worth looking out for? Do you think have they got what it takes to maybe cause a shock?
Yes, because they have Son. They have Sonny Boy. They have Heung-min Song, who is an elite forward. He was a joint Golden Boot winner last season, and he is incredible. He's peak age, and he's experienced. He's a brilliant player. So the fact that they've got somebody who can win games, you never know. If one of the opposition just don't turn up or have a bit of a stinker or get a funny red card, South Korea can definitely do well. They're not a poor team. People that you might recognize, they do have... the Wolves, Hee Chan-Hwang as well, who was very, very competent. Although I think he's fallen off a little bit recently.
Yeah, he has. He ripped us apart last season.
I remember the first handful of performances I watched him
in that game at Molyneux. We absolutely destroyed us, to be fair.
It's the Napoli centre-half I'm looking forward to seeing.
The Napoli centre-half, Min Jae Kim. Yeah, I've got him. I wrote him down in my notes, although I can't remember actually seeing him. I've watched Napoli a couple of times. I can't remember.
Superb against Liverpool. Superb.
Yeah. Well... They've got a few in here. They've got smatterings of Big 5 league and then smatterings of absolutely the arse end of nowhere. They've got some Mainz players, Olympiacos, Freiburg, of course, doing very well in the Bundesliga. So they've got some players in respectable leagues playing for respectable clubs who are obviously there on merit, which is really good. And then they've got a lot playing in just everywhere else. So definitely one to watch. I think they are definitely going to be the minnows of the group. But you never know. I think that might be a bit disrespectful to them. Because although Ghana look really exciting on paper, South Korea don't do too bad. They've just beat Iceland. Iceland 1-0. They beat Cameroon. They are beating teams. They've got a reasonably good record. So,
well, Tom says
they
here
are
that
ranked 28th as well. So considerably higher than Ghana.
The World Cup regulars, been at every tournament since 1986, and always one of the strongest Asian teams.
Yep.
Well, they lost 3-0 to Japan in their most recent sort of Asian derby, if that's a thing. Can we say that? Probably not. We can't say European derby, can we? That's a bit weird.
No, I wouldn't like to walk. Put it that way, Alex. Yeah, Carlos. Yes, give your wife our best wishes from everyone at the TTR family, because I know she's not well. So our thoughts are with you and your wife, matey. So hopefully she gets better very, very soon. Is it true about Miggy, says Carlos? Yes, it is. He's on his way home. Norway beating Ireland 1-0 at half time. Truls says it's just muscle fatigue with Miggy. Yeah, it's nothing serious, but obviously he's heading home just to, well, get a bit of time off and then ready to go to Saudi. So let's have a look at the poll and see what people have thought about this. Right, to finish top, well, the way people have this group is Portugal winning it, second Uruguay, third South Korea, and bottom Ghana. Interesting.
It's very possible.
Yeah, look, that is interesting. But a lot of people obviously fancy Portugal. Fair enough indeed. But Ghana to finish bottom with the squad they've got, I'm not so sure. I think Ghana could possibly cause a shock in that group. Because look, Portugal sometimes don't get going very quickly, do they? And they can't afford to have a slow start in this because they will get knocked out. That's just the way it goes. But they've got to get off the mark very, very quickly. Carla says she won't accept get wells from the Toon as she's a Mackham. Yeah, well, football disappears rivalry when it comes to health. Foxy says South Korea knocked out Germany last World Cup in the final group game, winning 2-0. Yes, they did.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, they did. So it's not all about dodgy stuff, Alex. They can be decent.
That's what I said. They've got competent enough forwards on their day to hurt anybody. They've got some talent, and they've always worked very well as a unit as well. You always get a lot of teams who don't have too many superstars, but they turn up and they play a solid formation. They all know what they're doing. They play with a lot of passion and discipline, and it works quite well.
Absolutely.
So you do get that.
Okay, so there you go. That is Group H. We now move to Group G. Now, for me, there's only one winner in this group, to be honest. I can't see which is going to be interesting in the poll. So, Alex, Brazil.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't top the group, they'll be disappointed. I mean, it is a tricky one to maneuver, though, as Switzerland are absolutely no joke, and Serbia likewise are absolutely no joke. They're both very, very competent teams. Brazil are ranked first in the rankings at the moment, but Serbia 21st and Switzerland 15th. They've all got reasonably star-studded lineups, and are all doing very well at international level. Sorry, Cameroon, that I didn't mention you. We will get to you.
They do have a bit of pedigree in the World Cup, Cameroon, though, to be fair.
Yeah, of course they do.
Well, I'm expecting Roger Miller to have a blinder, Billy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right, just to let you know that the poll is up for Group G. So go and get voting for Group G. Who do you think will win Group G? Let's see all your votes in there while we talk about them. Sorry, I was going.
I mean, their recent run of form is similar to that of NUFC with against Paraguay, they won 4-0. Chile, they won 4-0. Bolivia, they won 4-0. South Korea, 5-1. They're just absolutely blowing teams away, and they're rotating their squad heavily. A 1-0 past Japan, but they're still winning. 3-0 against Ghana, who we've just spoken about. 5-1 Tunisia. They are just absolutely blowing teams away, and they're not even settled on who they want to take as midfielder. They're not 100% settled with their forward line. They've got a lot of options, and they're still just absolutely blowing teams away. It's insane. in the SofaScore ratings as well. Bruno in 5th, which is nice. So in terms of the squad, well, it's pretty bonkers. But we can go through it. Why not? They've also got. Oh no, he's not listed. I thought Bruno was listed as a forward. Then I got excited. So Neymar, everybody knows who Neymar is. He's one of the reasons why they're favourites.
Yeah.
He's definitely in his peak right now.
He's hit a bit of form before the World Cup as well.
He seems to have cut all of his petulance out of his game. Whether it's out of his personality is yet to be seen. But if he can get his head down and play
do you know why I think that is, Alex? It may sound stupid, right? But I think, with Mbappe taking all the headlines early doors at the start of this season, I think Neymar's just had to think to himself, really, hasn't he? And thought, right, I'm going to prove people wrong here, and I'm going to show people what I can do. And he's getting the form back, and as you say, he's cut out the petulance.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's definitely could be a case. In fact, I'd probably agree with that. To be fair, I think he's maturing as well. I think he's in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. He's reached that age where he's mentoring people. He's got a lot of young sort of underlings that he's kind of taking under his wing. I think he's had to grow up a little bit. I think that's helping. I think he's not as much of a well, I was going to say much of a cock, but he's definitely improved a little bit.
Yeah.
And then behind him, you've got Vinicius Junior, elite level, Gabriel Jesus, top level, if not elite level, Rodrigo, Richarlison, and Pedro from Flamengo. Is this the Pedro? I'll have to have a look in a second. Richarlison, obviously controversial because a lot of people think he's terrible. He's not terrible. He's very good until he's got very good physical attributes. He's technical. He works hard. We just don't like him. I don't like him. I wouldn't like him at our club. No. But it works because if they don't take him, they don't have anything different. He offers them something that's not a Brazilian tricky winger. He's a bit more meaty, if that makes sense. He is a bit of a rat though. But I think they've got a really healthy array of choices for their forward line. They can play in a different system. They can play with a lone striker. They could play with one and wingers. They could rotate in a number of different ways. Midfield, absolutely stacked again, just ridiculous. Of course, Fabinho not having the greatest of seasons, but then they've got Casemiro. So if you drop one elite defensive midfield, you've got another one. Then you've also got Bruno. And then Rafinha and Antony are down as midfielders, along with Paqueta and Martinelli, despite some of them potentially playing on the wing. Fred and Everton Ribeiro in there as well. So you get a few Flamengo players in the mix. And then the defenders, again, star-studded. Thiago Silva, Dani Alves, Militao, Marquinhos, Alex Telles, Alexandro, Danilo, and Bremer. So Bremer was the young left-footed centre-back that we were talking about before we got Botman. He was in the list. We did review him a couple of times. And he's at Juventus. Although Sandro, Danilo, and Bremer are all at Juventus, so they've got a lot of them there. And then the goalkeepers, again, ridiculous, with Alisson and Everton as the two choices, and then Weverton as the third one, which everybody loves his name because it's brilliant.
Weverton.
It is Weverton, yeah.
Wow. I mean, Billy, we remember sort of, going back through the years, the fantastic Brazil sides that have played in the World Cup, and you think right back to this. I mean, I didn't see them, but I saw videos of the Brazilian team in the 70s. Just incredible footballers, and then of course the 80s. You had some fantastic players there like Zico, etc. And they were just joy to watch. Do you think this Brazil squad, in this modern day and age, can play the similar sort of football to those Brazilian sides gone by?
Yes, I do. I don't believe they're the same quality of some of the ones we've seen before, but I don't think the whole World Cup actually is filled with as much quality as previous World Cups. So I think Brazil will be right up there. The 82 World Cup side that got beat by Italy should have won it, but they didn't have a centre forward. They were fantastic every area of the pitch, but they had the worst centre forward at the World Cup playing for them. The 70 World Cup side is meant to be supposedly the best side of all time. But they do have their moments also. They can be quite petulant, can be quite dirty. Old Brazil sides, kind of, people forget that. They do like to keep leave foot in and feet in, I should say. But generally they play fantastic stuff. And yeah, I think this year could be their year.
Interesting.
It's interesting to note as well, because I've just been reminded because of Fox's comment that Gabigol has not been picked, and did whinge about it profusely on social media, and then instantly retracted all of his posts because he whinged about the manager, because he's been picked in recent, and I think it was picked in the previous call up, so I think he was a bit annoyed he didn't get in.
Well, I mean, you know, you look to the Brazilian manager's comments about Joe Linton, it doesn't make any sense at all, considering some of the players that are actually there. But look, I think he was just trying to, you know, he could just be trying to just give an excuse, just a kind excuse to the player. But, you know, regardless of that, you know, Joe Linton's not there. And I think it's very difficult, given the squad that Brazil actually have, for Joe Linton to get in there. If there was one player I'd say, you know, to maybe Joe Linton could get in front of is Fred. But then again, Fred plays superbly well for Brazil. You know, we just look at his Man United career and think, well, is he all that? But he is actually a decent footballer, and certainly shows that when he plays for Brazil. So
I'd drop a winger. I'd probably take Fred. I mean, the strange one that people don't seem to be talking about. I'd drop a winger. I think they've got too many wingers in this squad. Because Joe Linton, as you've seen, can play midfield and left wing and offer you something different. Whereas in terms of actual wingers here, you can play Martinelli, Antony, Rafinha, Pedro, Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr., Neymar also was a winger. Yeah. Gabriel Jesus is a winger. There's too many wingers. I think he should keep Fred because of his versatility, and he's never let the team down. And I would drop one of those wingers for Joe Linton just because of the versatility.
Yeah. Interesting.
You know, who does Martinelli? Is Martinelli ever going to get any minutes? If they're struggling, you know, he plays on the left. I'm pretty sure for Arsenal, doesn't he? I think he's left. He's not going to get ahead of Vinicius Jr. or Neymar, or potentially even a third.
Good point.
Or Antony at the moment. I think he's even playing better. Whereas if you take Joe Linton, you've got a completely different option. And I don't think Martinelli's been with the national setup that much. I could be wrong. I'd have to check that.
I don't think he has. I'm not
so
sure.
If we're basing it on familiarity with the setup, then I don't think there's too much in it. But he's the manager.
Magpie in Essex says, who is the dirtiest team going to the World Cup? Well, I wouldn't put it much past Uruguay, to be honest. I mean, they love a good tackle, Billy, don't they?
Yeah, they've been known to not just tackle, but even try and eat the opponents, haven't they? So,
well, yeah, that's happened once or twice. Yeah, trying to eat them. Carlos says some of these players remind me of my Panini sticker books. I still have them. Yeah, I think I'll be collecting that. I'll do every tournament. I get the sticker books. Every time there's a Euro Championships or World Cup on. I got them I remember every season I used to get them because can you remember the early Panini ones, Billy, where it used to be the First Division and the Scottish First Division? Do you remember that?
The first one I can remember is Football 78, I believe, and the World Cup 78. Yeah, definitely remember all that.
They used to bring it out every season, but it used to be the top league in England, top league in Scotland, and that was it. Because that's where the early photos of David Moyes came, weren't they? Back in the day. Jesus. He didn't have a good look about him, to be honest. The Brazil manager,
didn't he?
Yeah, he did. The Brazil manager was talking out of his arse. At best, it was just a very lame excuse wrapped up in saltiness. Jim says, "What happened to Hulk? Did he come of anything after his World Cup games? He's still playing.
I think he had a kid with his niece, didn't he?
Something like that. Yeah,
I think something weird happened. I can't. I don't quote me on that. I think that was. I'd have to check.
No, it does ring a bell, but we'll move on. Larry says Neymar will play the number 10 role for Brazil, so Martinelli is second choice after Vinicius, in my opinion. I believe Larry is Brazilian.
It's not always how they play. It depends on what formation they go for. He does tend to play as the 10, yeah, but we'll see.
Interesting. Firmino has been done dirty. Wasn't Steve Bruce recently linked with the Cameroon job? Carlos says, any swaps, Paul? Oh, you remember the swaps? He's
got.
Oh, I've got a shiny.
Shiny, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus. Paul says, Uncle Joe is one of the scariest players in the world right now. He gives nobody time on the ball. Absolutely. Right, Switzerland, Alex?
Oh, you bugger. I just had Serbia up.
Oh, I'll go for Serbia.
Yeah, we'll do Serbia because I've got it all open. Yeah, Serbia. one of my favourite teams at international level. I think they're brilliant. I made a funny FIFA team based around them a couple of years ago, just because I really like all the players. Very, very competent recent form, beating Norway, Sweden. Who's they lost to? Denmark, and they lost to Norway a few months ago as well. But they're beating a lot of teams. Very, very stacked squad, actually, to be fair. With Dusan Vlahovic up front, Mitrovic, of course. They've still got Luka Jovic, who's back at Fiorentina, which is, I think it was where he started back in the day, wasn't it? And then he did a few moves. Midfield, again, crazy stacked. Tadic is down as a midfielder. They've got Milinkovic-Savic as well from Lazio, who has long been connected to top level moves all across Europe. Well, all the top European leagues. It's just never seemed to have materialized for some reason. When we looked at him in January or the summer, I think he was around 70 odd million. We were looking at Filip Kostic as well. Who else would we potentially know? And then a lot floating around the Spanish leagues and the Italian leagues. You've got some in Poland as well. But some big names in there, some strong players, reasonably good record. They've got very, very good attacking threat as well, good structure. And I think they are, I don't think Brazil are nailed on to win this group. Potentially, they're the most likely to win the group by far, of course. But Serbia and Switzerland, both of them are no joke. And I can't see them breezing past both of them without...
What on earth are you doing, Billy? Oh dear!
I can't see him breezing past both.
Yeah,
I'd like to see a Serbia-Brazil game as well, because I think a few of them, if Dani Alves starts trying to pipe up and gets any minutes, or if Richarlison starts whinging, some of the Serbian boys ain't going to take that. They're just going to headbutt them. So, yeah.
It'd be interesting. I mean, I think it's going to be a good group, this, to be honest. Spike Milligan, thank you for your £20 super chat. Very kind, my friend. Just love TTR and family. Thank you very much, buddy. Tom's phone was having a bit of a burnout because he said Hulk left his wife for Bruce and had a baby. And then he since changed it. Spell checker needs serious looking at there. Because he went and then put niece. Bruce, that would have been equally as disturbing. Yeah, but he did. He left his wife for his niece and had a baby. So, it's crazy. But Tom doesn't know how his phone thinks Bruce and niece is the same word.
That's concerning.
Seriously disturbing. David says, I've watched Serbia against Wales a couple of times recently. Very organised and hard to break down. Mitro is always a threat. They struggle if they concede first, though. Yeah, Foxy says Serbia have a great group of players. Can see why a lot like them to qualify second. Billy, a big opportunity for obviously Mitro in this World Cup. He might want to be putting himself in the shop window to move to a, no disrespect to Fulham, but obviously a bigger club the way he's been playing. Serbia, like Alex has just said, they've got a few decent names in there. So can you see them providing a threat?
I certainly can see Mitrovic providing a threat, but certainly to the Brazilian centre halves, if Thiago Silva's playing, a bit of physicality, a bit of pace, a little bit of pace, I should say, probably more than Thiago Silva. And he's never let Serbia down at international level. He seems to score goals for fun for Serbia. You say Mitrovic Golden Boot is not a bad outside bet, I don't think, for the Golden Boot.
No, not at all.
Yep. Interesting. Cesare says, Billy, don't you know it's always louder when you're trying to open a wrapper sneakily?
You got to do it quick.
Yeah. Darren says, going to be between Switzerland or Serbia to go through because Brazil will win the group. Good evening to Louis. Hope you're well, Louis. Apparently Hulk dated his ex-wife's niece, not Hulk's niece. Okay, so there you go.
The papers have twisted that.
Mike says, has Mitro's form already peaked? He will score, but just missed his hot form. No, I don't think so. I think he's still relatively young, isn't he? 25, 26? He's not that old.
Who? Sorry, I was reading something.
Mitrovic.
I think he's 27.
Right. Okay. I don't think he's still in his prime. Right.
This is definitely his prime.
Switzerland, Alex.
So I've just been sent something interesting that is kind of relevant. So thank you for sending me that. You know who you are. I don't think it's Callum Hudson-Odoi. Is he England locked? There's rumours that he's been asked to play for Ghana, and he's not sure.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
One.
I haven't heard anything.
All right, never mind.
Well, Foxy says, don't be surprised to see Cameroon finish second, only because they play Serbia and Switzerland on the early 10 a.m. kickoffs at UK time. Switzerland showed today they struggle.
They did, although they did very well in the European Championships just gone. So we'll have to see.
Right, well, we'll look at Switzerland now.
Yeah, okay, Switzerland, mixed recent form. As we've mentioned, they lost to Ghana today in the morning. They lost 2-0. Recent victories, they beat the Czech Republic, they beat Spain, and they beat Portugal. So they've had a really good recent run of form prior to this Ghana game. And then the three prior to those wins was a narrow 1-0 loss to Spain. They got pumped 4-0 by Portugal, and then a 2-1 loss to Switzerland. So mixed form. When they want to turn up, they can beat anybody. And then sometimes it just doesn't work. Their highest rated keeper, this is the Nations League rankings it's giving me, was their goalkeeper, Jonas Omlin. And they got some big names, very, very big names. Up front, not as big name, but an absolute unit of a player is Briel Mbolo.
Mbolo's been like the front line for Switzerland for, God, he must be 160 years old now.
No, he's still pretty young, I'm pretty sure.
He doesn't do it for me. Whenever I watch him, I look at players and I think, I'd love him at Newcastle kind of thing.
He's only 25 now.
Give over.
He's 25. He's been around.
He's
forever,
another Dumby of that guy. I'm telling you. You never know what his age is.
Kid.
He played in the 70s. He played in the World Cup in the 70s, man. Honestly,
I think it's because he come through one of the Belgium academies. I think FC Basel. He came through Basel.
Well, look, for me, he just never seems to. I don't look at him as a prolific sort of striker. I don't see it in him.
Can I just put in there? It's pronounced Bal, Alex.
What is?
You said it was Basel or Basel. It's pronounced Bal.
Oh, it's what is it? Basel.
Just Bal. Bal.
Just Bal.
Bal.
Didn't know that.
He is actually right, because I played ice hockey there. I played in an ice hockey tournament in there.
I hate to be pedantic about pronunciation.
I didn't know that.
I mean, listen, Alex never corrects anybody on the correct name. So, but there you go. It is Bal, actually.
French and
Belgian
French and stuff is not my strong point. I will admit. I'm just checking his FB ref because I think he's better than you're giving him credit for. He's last season 9 goals, 3 assists in the Bundesliga, and then he's moved to Monaco. And he's 7 goals, 2 assists so far this season. So he's not doing too bad.
Nah.
Right. Anyway, well, they've got more players than him. Players that people will know. They've got Shaqiri is still in the squad. Granit Xhaka. They've got Dennis Zakaria, the midfield on loan to Chelsea at the moment. Djibril Sow is in there. Ooh, who else would people know? Probably Mr. Fabian Schär in defence, alongside Akanji for Man City. They've got Jan Sommer from Mönchengladbach, who's a very, very good keeper.
Stacked for keepers, because Kobal's pretty good as well, isn't he?
Yeah, well, obviously, Omlin was the guy I quoted at the beginning who did very well in the Nations League. They've got Gregor Kobel, who's at Dortmund as well. They've got the Salzburg keeper. So they've got a lot. They've taken 4 keepers, to be fair. They've got Ricardo Rodriguez as well. I think he was at Wolfsburg. He's at Torino now. He's a competent left back. Elvedi as well from Mönchengladbach. Yeah, they've got a reasonably strong side. I don't feel they're a higher ranking. They're ranked 15th, so their recent performances and their ranking would suggest they're a little bit better than Serbia. But personally, I would edge towards Serbia. But that's just, I think I've got a Mitro preference there, even though Fabian Schär plays for Switzerland. I did see some strange woman posting the hottest man of each nation earlier. I thought that was a little bit double standardy, but we won't get into that. But I thought I had to mention it because she put Granit Xhaka as the most handsome Swiss man. I was like, you can't do that with Fabian Schär in the squad.
Absolutely not.
That's
There's
the
only
joke. If any ladies or men who are happy to rate the males of the Swiss team, there's no way that Xhaka is ahead of Fabian Schär. There's absolutely no way
not. The man is like the milk tray man of Switzerland is Schär. Tom says Ball is the French name. Basel or Basel is the German name. Both are valid. The team uses the German term FC Basel, but of course, a lot of people pronounce that FC Ball. To be honest, and when I was there,
let's play Ball.
It was Ball. So
I'm not wrong.
No, you weren't.
You are. He is, Billy, for the first time.
He is.
Accidentally right.
Come on, Billy, you've got to jump on these opportunities, man, because there isn't many of them. Billy, your thoughts on Switzerland?
They always start to deceive for me. I know you can't go back on previous tournaments and stuff. They've got some good players. They've got some really good players, in fact. I just don't think they've got enough in each area of the pitch to kind of get themselves through the group, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yep, definitely. Ab says share all night, day long. Yeah. Troll says, since when did we care how our players look? Always, Trolls. Always.
It's the fact that they put Granit Xhaka ahead. I just thought, this can't stand.
Share is a 10 out of 10 for Julie J. Mike says Share is just the chiseled like granite. Xhaka is just named it. There you go. Carlos says, imagine Fabian Schär with Francisco's voice, Rachel. Oh dear. Interesting. Anyway, the final team in the group are Cameroon, Alex.
Yep. I think anything that's not last place in this group is a success for them. It's a very, very tough group. I think they're going to be a bit frustrated that they drew this group. Recent form's not good. They lost to South Korea. They lost to Uzbekistan. They scraped a 1-0 win against Burundi. It's not great. Their probably most impressive recent win was a 2-1 against Algeria, and Algeria are a lot more competent, so that's decent. But then they lost the previous fixture against Algeria as well. They actually drew 3-3 in normal time, and then they won on penalties against Burkina Faso. So not great in the recent results, to be fair. But they do have some big names that people might recognize. They've got Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting from Bayern Munich. So
I still struggle how that guy is playing for Bayern Munich. Just incredible.
Via PSG
the fact that he was PSG, yes, Billy, prior, wasn't he? Yeah. Unbelievable.
Other forwards that you might know, they've got Mbuemo from Brentford, who is not a bad player. And I don't know some of the other ones. They've got Jean-Pierre Nsam, who plays for Young Boys. And they've got Christian Basagog, and I don't know what that team is either. SHS. There you go. Tom, you might know possibly.
SHS.
If anybody can guess what team SHS is, then you get a point.
Shields, isn't it?
Definitely not. That's not in our leagues, I don't think. Midfielders: Frank Anguissa for Napoli. Carl Toko Ekambi for Lyon as well is quite well known. So they've got some reasonably good names in there, and they've got some players floating around in Olympiacos, a few from Besiktas. So Turkey, they've got a few players playing in Turkey and Egypt, so at a decent level. I honestly don't recognize
Alex. Egypt, a decent level. Egyptian
did I
football?
say Egypt? I meant to say Greece. I'm sorry. I meant to say Greece.
Goodness.
I meant to say Greece. I don't know why I said Egypt.
I was going to say decent level Egyptian football. Staggering comment. Wow.
It's because on the right hand side of the screen I'm looking at, there's an advertisement with Mo Salah in it. I think my brain just went straight for Egypt.
Wow.
I don't recognize any of the defenders. I'm not going to lie. I haven't had time to research every single player of every single nation.
Listen,
that is impossible.
Listen, Cameroon will always be remembered for the 90s teams. I mean, certainly early 90s, 90 and 94, I think it was.
They've still got Andre Onana in goal.
Oh no,
What's his name?
What's his name, Alex?
Oh no. I mean, their reserve goalkeeper in I don't know whether I should try and say this. Ngapan Dutnebu. I don't know how else to try and say that one. Let me paste it. Let me paste it in the chat and see if
Oh
Billy
my
can give us a
god!
better
Oh wow!
iteration of that.
What was it? Bututu.
I mean, his first name's Simon, so I'm just going to call him Simon.
That's mental.
There you go. That's his name. He plays for Marseille.
That's for fuck's sake. I wouldn't even try and say that.
Wow!
And Gappa Duentmo.
And Gapand Numbu.
Yeah. I think we'll
You can
stick
see
with
why I
simple Simon.
struggled with it.
Yeah, just call him Simon. That's fine. Yep, no doubt about that. Jesus. Foxy says, didn't Switzerland knock out France in the Euros? Yes, they did on penalties.
Yeah.
Wolves F1,
Well,
good
they
evening to
don't.
you. Cameroon used to be awesome, says Judy J. Darren says, did Fabian Schär play today because Switzerland lost? I believe he did, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I think he got
Yeah.
subbed off. I can't remember what time he got subbed off at, but
Yeah.
obviously
Ring a
Cameroon
bit
at
Song's.
Yeah.
Song's the manager, of course, of Cameroon. Former Liverpool player, of course.
They did.
Paul says,
When he played
yes,
for
he
Cameroon,
did.
he had R instead of, because there was more than one song in the squad, so he's come out with R song. And of course, Fantasy Football said they're playing our song again.
Yeah.
As a standing joke.
Yeah, definitely. Paul says the Toon Canada are here. Good evening to you. Or good afternoon.
I mean, they're in the next group, so
Yes, they are. I believe Fabian Schär played for around 65 minutes. Darren says, is Roger Miller still playing?
I think he'd be in his 70s now.
Yes. Wasn't he in his 70s in the World Cup, really? To be fair.
I think it was 14,
Wow.
1990. So, yeah, if he moment.
Jeez Christ, yeah.
But who can forget that tackle that the Cameroonian did on Claudio Caniggia in the first game? Do you remember?
Oh, wow. That run by Caniggia, though, I mean, he must have been poleaxed about 3 times running through the pitch. Dear God. Cameroon won that game, though, didn't they? They won 1-0.
It was the first game, wasn't it? The 1990
It was, yeah. Was it South Africa, that one? It was, wasn't it?
Italy.
Oh, was it Italy?
Italy.
Yes, it was. But didn't they beat Argentina again, though, later on? I'm sure it was in South Africa. I'm sure they did. Never mind. But I do remember that run. The 3 of them went flying in on Caniggia, and then the third one actually poleaxed them. Rigobert Song was the first player to be sent off in 2 World Cups as well, says Mike. Irani Granny says Egypt are top of the football pyramid.
Oh, that stinks.
they play tomorrow against Belgium in a friendly.
That'll
Well,
be
thanks
interesting.
for that. Yep, Alex will be watching that very interestingly. Rachel says, I hope there's going to be a video put together of Alex's name's pronunciations. Suzette! Oh, that was so funny. Oh dear. We know what Lineker did on the pitch against Cameroon. Yes, we do.
That all came from Gascoigne's 2 fantastic through balls. What amazing passes they were. Very much.
Yeah, but she's also talking about him pooing his pants on the pitch, Billy. Remember that?
But that wasn't against Cameroon. That was against Ireland.
No, it was against. Are you sure?
Yeah. First game, Ireland. The
Was
2
it?
passes from Gascoigne were very much like Trippier's against for Willem.
Absolutely marvellous.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Superb balls. Right, let's have a look at the poll for this group then, and we'll see what's what. Right, 88% of you went with Brazil. Joint second in the group come Serbia and Switzerland, both on 5%, and poor old Cameroon on 2%. Yeah.
Christ.
So, judging by the viewer poll there, it's absolutely nailed on that Brazil will go through. So that is the end of that group. Now then, we move on to the next one, which is Group F. Now, again, interesting. We've got Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. So, Alex, who have you got first for Group F? Well, I set the poll away.
Belgium.
Go on then.
So, unlike Brazil, well, they're just behind Brazil in the rankings in second. And as Belgium have had in the last 5 to 10 years, a ridiculous set of names in their squad. And quite frankly, I'm going to put, well, I'm just going to say it. I think it's ridiculous that they've not won anything. I mean, they've not done as they should be doing a lot better.
Two words.
Because their squad,
Roberto
Martinez. Yeah, he's not good enough. He's definitely not as good as people think he is. Their squad is batshit. It's so incredibly good, the Belgium squad. I mean, I'll just read names. It will speak for itself. Eden Hazard, Romelu Lukaku, Dries Mertens, Charles de Ketelaere for AC Milan, Batshuayi, Jeremy Doku, Leandro Trossard. And they've got Openda from Racing Club de Lens in there as well. Crazy amount of forwards. Obviously, they've been better. There have been times in their careers where, for example, Hazard and Lukaku have been performing much better than they are doing nowadays. But even so, that front line is outrageous. It is also quite funny that Ketelaere in that lineup, AC Milan are doing all of their PR focusing on how good that signing is to try and anytime they get questioned about Botman, they go, "Oh, but we have Charles de Ketelaere and he's a very good talent." And they always try and move it away.
Well, the poll's up, by the way. The poll is up for this group, so get voting for your favourites for this group. Sorry, Alex, go on.
Midfield, absolutely ridiculous again. Kevin De Bruyne, Tielemans, Thorgan Hazard, Yannick Carrasco, Axel Witsel, Dendoncker, Amadou Onana from Everton, and Vanaken from Club Brugge, who I have not seen play before. Obviously, Onana probably not going to get any minutes. If he does, he should probably try and stay on his feet a little bit more than he did against us. But that midfield, there's not really too many young players. It's mostly seasoned veterans in that midfield, but just absolutely star-studded. And you've got people that are versatile. Carrasco plays wing-back for Atletico Madrid as well. Thorgan Hazard plays an array of positions for Dortmund. And Tielemans and De Bruyne are just top talents. Tielemans looks like he's turned his corner now and is playing a lot better for Leicester in recent weeks as well. Defenders are aging. Definitely, it's not. It used to be probably one of their strongest areas. Not so much anymore. Toby Alderweireld is still in there, but he's got to be about 95 years old by now. What Fass is in there, the funny guy who we were linked with, but he ended up going to Leicester as the Fofana replacement. Timothy Castagna as well. They've got Vertonghen in there. So Vertonghen and Alderweireld are both still there, but they're both getting on. Thomas Meunier and Zeno de Bast as well. Goalkeepers, of course, it's going to be Courtois. Mignolet and Castiles are the other two, but it's going to be Courtois. So the other two are irrelevant unless Courtois gets injured. Defense is concerning for me at a major tournament. I don't know how they stop because some of the front lines are pretty bonkers in this tournament. But they should be going deep. There's no reason they can't. I mean, they're ranked 2 in the world for a reason. They should be going really deep into this tournament, and they should be challenging. On their page that I've got up here of recent performances, their only losses are 2 losses to the Netherlands. They've beat everybody else: Wales, Poland, Wales again, Burkina Faso, like Ireland. They drew with Ireland.
Wales give them a game though, if I do recall, because I watched those games, and Wales did give them a couple of good games.
Yeah, it was the most recent one was they beat Wales 2-1, and then the one before that was a 1-1 draw. So no, you're right. The Netherlands loss was a 1-0. So not the most incredible recent performances, but just on principle, I would like them to do better this tournament because I'm frustrated that they haven't. I think they should have done better.
Totally agree.
Obviously, Januzaj not in there this time. No ex-Mackham.
Billy, there's a lot of comments coming in saying that maybe that Belgium have missed the boat on this sort of, golden generation of theirs, and maybe that it's an aging side now, and they're not as quick as they used to be. But I suppose when you still got De Bruyne in there, and Mertens and some of the other names that Tielemans, who Alex said is coming to a bit of form, possibly. I think they'll get out of the group. I don't think there's a problem there, but. Do you think maybe they've missed the boat?
I think this is very much their last chance. I think they have missed the boat. I think that the heat isn't going to go for them. I don't think De Bruyne is going to enjoy that heat over there with his ginger hair and
the red face.
The red face is, I can't see them going deep in the tournament. They're hampered by the fact they've got a shit manager. But I'm looking forward to seeing Doku because he looks a very, very good player.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right. Next team is Canada, I believe, Alex.
It is indeed. I've got to be nice, haven't I now? Because we've got Canadians in the chat.
Well,
Right, rank
I mean, you
40.
can try and be nice, but I don't think it's going to do Canada's hopes.
Is Alfonso
you never
Davies
know.
playing? Is he fit? Because he was injured, wasn't he?
That is a very good question. That I
You've got
do not know
Jonathan,
the
Jonathan
answer to
David there as
at
well,
the
haven't they?
moment.
I mean, he's rapid.
Let me double check. What the? Who's on their injury list? Jonathan David and Alfonso Davies. Was he on the bench? They played Japan today and they won 2-1. David Wotherspoon. No, you're not the right player. Where is? I can't see him. He wasn't in the starting lineup and he wasn't on the bench. Any Canadians in the chat, please? Can you clear that up for us? So yeah, they're in a tough group. Belgium, Canada, Croatia, Morocco is the group. Remember, so Croatia and Belgium would be the traditional favourites for the top two, I would imagine. Morocco are no joke either. So they're going to have to. Ideally, they're going to need to beat their rival in the group, which would be Morocco, and then they need to have an upset against either Belgium or Croatia. Ideally, they want to try and maybe grab 4 points and see if they can get a second place, because there's a lot of quality in terms of their players. I don't think there's crazy amounts of quality in it. There's competency in the form of Jonathan David. If he can perform on the stage required, he has gone through phases of being. He's gone through phases of being elite and then through phases of being absolutely nowhere near that level. So it just completely depends on which version of Jonathan David turns up. Players that people may know, you've got Junior Hoylett, who's at Reading now, who is Canadian. Kyle spelled C-Y-L-E. That's a funny way of spelling Kyle. Kyle Larin. I'm not okay with that. That's thrown me. C-Y-L-E.
Yeah, some of these Canadians could have sort of French names in them, Alex.
He plays for Club Brugge, so it's very possible.
Literally being half of France lives in Canada, so
Yeah, you've got. I'm trying to find positives here. I mean, you've got Alfonso Davies if he's playing.
Jonathan David. Those are two.
Justin Bieber.
Those are two.
Justin Bieber.
I mean, you've not got players playing in particularly strong leagues in the team.
Yardsale makes a good point here because the Canadians finished above USA and Mexico in qualifying. So
yeah,
it's not too bad. And of course, the manager is from Concert, just up the road from here. So
the problem you've got is half the squad plays for Montreal, and it's not the most competitive league on the planet. And they've got to play Belgium and Croatia. Yeah, they did very well in the group. But they're not in a qualifying group anymore. They're in the World Cup group, and it is a different kettle of fish altogether.
Very true.
I just think that with their depth, I just don't think they've got the
Ryan
talent.
Ryan says Larin is from Toronto, and yeah, it's Kyle.
It is Kyle, yeah. No, because it's spelled C-Y-L-E, which is confusing. But yeah, so they've got a lot of players from Montreal. They've got a few players that play in Europe. You've got Basel and Porto.
Alex, it's Montreal. Don't say Montreal. It's Montreal. Montreal.
It's going to need to be, as we've discussed earlier, it's going to need to be a team that has a disciplined, passionate performance.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to go out and play expressive football. They might be able to play brave football with nice aggression and attacking runs, but they're going to have to be really disciplined and really careful. Because if they're not, a couple of these teams are going to put Belgium or Croatia could easily put 3 or 4 past them. If they switch off for half an hour, they're going to get killed. So they need to be careful. But yeah, we'll see. It's very possible that they could come second. They're going to need to beat Morocco and then do well against one of those other teams. They've got a chance, but they have to turn up. Jonathan David has to turn up, and they need to be disciplined for sure.
I think I'm right in saying this is Canada's second World Cup. I can remember them qualifying in '86. I don't recall them qualifying after that, but I might be wrong. Any Canadians can put me right if
I don't think they have, Billy, to be honest. It's going to be tough for them. Anyway, next team, Alex, in the group?
We have Morocco. Okay, so there are some big names in this team that you will know. We've got Ashraf Hakimi, very, very, very good fullback. You've also got Naif Aguerd. I can't remember. I don't know how you say his name. He's
West
the
Ham.
one that went to West Ham that we were linked with for about a week, and then he went to West Ham. Very good centre back. They've also got Sofiane Boufal as well up front. So they've got some reasonably good names. Recent form is not terrible either. They beat Chile, which is very decent, beating Chile 2-0, competent. They got a draw against Paraguay, and they've just beaten Georgia 3-0 today as well. So they're in reasonably good form. We aren't playing high. Fair enough. Yeah, they beat Jamaica, they beat Liberia, they beat South Africa. So they've had some easier fixtures and they've had some more difficult fixtures, but they're winning and drawing all their games. Their last loss was against the USA some months ago. So they're in reasonably good form. In terms of the squad as well, so this is the difference between Canada and Morocco. Is a lot of Morocco are playing in big leagues. I'm looking down the list, and you've got players playing for Sevilla, Osasuna. You've got Ziyech as well, obviously at Chelsea.
Yeah.
You've got people in Fiorentina, in Marseille, in Sampdoria. You've got people playing regularly in the top leagues in Serie A and La Liga. It makes a big difference. It really, really does. The level is so much higher. But yeah, I can't believe I missed him off the first list. But Hakim Ziyech obviously is extremely important for them. Youssef and Nesri as well for Sevilla is a big name. And they've got a few players from the Championship in here. They've got Ilyas Cher from QPR. I refuse to call him Chair, which is how it's spelt. I'm assuming it's not Chair. I'm assuming it's Cher. Zaruri as well from Burnley. So a few Championship players in there.
A lot of Wolves
do I
play for Morocco.
recognise? Sorry?
Is Ait Nouri from Morocco? Is that at Wolves?
They've got Mazraoui from Bayern Munich, who I was just coming on to.
Yeah, he's a good player too.
You're about I know who you mean with Nouri, but no, I don't think he is.
He might be Algerian.
Possibly, yeah. But yeah, Naswa Mazraoui, if I can say his name right, from Bayern Munich, very, very good defender as well. So they've got really, really competent defenders in this team with Hakimi, Mazraoui, and Aguerd in there. I don't know the keepers. Oh God. Their keeper's called Bono.
Hope he has a beautiful day when he plays.
He does play for Sevilla though, so he's playing at a good level. I'm not sure.
I hope he finds what he's looking for when a ball goes looking in the box.
Yeah, exactly, Billy.
So yeah, Canada, watch out because Morocco are not a bad side at all. They're in good form. They've got a reasonably good balanced squad. I'm not as familiar with their midfielders. The only one I really know is Amine Harit from Marseille. I don't really know the others. They've got Amrabat from Fiorentina, but I can't recall having watched him played.
Play for Watford, Amrabat.
I mean, he rings a bell. That's why I've named him, but I can't remember from where. Is it Watford? Is it?
He was at Watford, wasn't he? I think he's a winger.
Fair enough. Well, he's at Fiorentina now. So, but with players like Ziyech in that squad, you got to be careful. And Nesri as well from Sevilla. They're dangerous. They've got a lot more dangerous players in that side. So I would probably back them for third. I think they're more likely to have an upset than Canada is. But good luck.
And of course, Billy, there's no Hadji or Chipo in this Moroccan squad.
No Noureddin Neighbour from Spurs. Remember him?
Yes. I mean, what's your hopes for Morocco, Billy?
I can't see them. This to me is an opening shit case as who goes through. I think top two ranked teams in the group will go through, but Morocco I think will finish third. They've got some decent players. I think they'll beat Canada, but I don't think they can upset Croatia or Belgium.
Yeah, well, we'll move on to Croatia now. Obviously, again, an aging side.
Yeah, it is an aging side. Of course, Morocco play against Croatia in that first game. They don't have any more friendlies. They just played Saudi Arabia yesterday, and they beat Saudi Arabia 1-0. Croatia ranked, I don't think I said the ratings. So Croatia ranked 12th, Morocco 22nd. What was Canada's as well? I don't think I mentioned that, did I? Canada's is 41st. But Croatia, of course, the country of itch with Ivusic, Modric, Stanisic. We're not going to say the whole squad.
It's a very itchy country.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Yeah. But very, very, very star-studded Slavic nation. Absolutely
star-studded, but an older star-studded lineup for me.
Yeah. So forward line, Kramaric is probably the most well-known name, and in there you've got Pasalic from Atalanta. You got Livaja, Petkovic from Dinamo Zagreb, and Ante Budimir from Osasuna. But Kramaric is the most well-known name there, and they have snuck a few slightly forward players in the midfield option, primarily Perisic. I understand that Conte's made him a wing back, but he's still traditionally a forward. So the midfield is where they shine, of course, with Modric, Kovacic, Perisic, Brozovic, Vlasic, Orsic. They've got Lovren Mayer from Stade Rennais, who's also very competent. Lukas Sucic, who we looked at from Salzburg.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, because we looked at him alongside Šeško as well. So he's a very competent player. Borna Sosa, who I think we've also been linked with. Is he? Ooh, who does he play for? Stuttgart? Is it Stuttgart? I can't remember. And then you've got Christian Jakic as well. So they've got a crazy star-studded midfield. But it is aging. Modric it's got to be 72. Kovacic is still a good age. Brozovic is still a tidy age. I'm still very frustrated that we couldn't get him in January. I was really hoping to try and get him on a pre-contract agreement, but he committed his future, unfortunately. Vlasic gone to Torino. It's not really worked out at West Ham for him. And then defense, some names that if you don't know them now, you will in the future. Gvardiol for RB Leipzig is probably the sort of European jewel for left-footed centre-backs, and he will be the next big move for left-footed defenders. He's probably Premier League bound at some point soon, because Chelsea still need to sort their defenders out.
And can I just make a point here? Christian Pulisic is not Croatian, right? He's American. He is not Croatian, okay? So he doesn't play for Croatia.
And Mark Goldbridge, he's not Croatian either.
No.
Dejan Lovren, who I don't really want to talk about because he still plays in Russia.
Greatest centre half in the world, according to him.
Well, he still plays in Russia. As far as I'm concerned, he should have ripped his contract up and gone back to Europe. I think it's disgraceful that he's still there. So I don't want him to start. I don't want him to play. I think it's disgusting. Stanisic, Vida, Juranovic. I don't know some of these. I think I remember Vida. He was the one that always had the ponytail.
Yeah. Kaleta I should say.
He is not there this time. No? He is not in the squad, no. Goalkeepers, Livakovic for Dinamo Zagreb. They've also got Ivo Grubic, I don't know how to say that, from Atletico Madrid, who is obviously always going to be an understudy to Oblak, so we know he doesn't play games for Atletico super often. Most likely to be the Zagreb keeper starting. Recent form...
not there this year, Alex?
Who?
Schalke not there this year?
Don't think he is.
I do not believe he is, no. He is not.
I mean, Billy,
he is rated 9th in the Nations League player ratings. Shime Shalko, however we say his name. No, he's not in the squad.
I wonder if he's injured.
Possibly.
But I mean, Billy, what's your thoughts on Croatia? Because I think they're very similar to Belgium this year, but I think Croatia may get out the group, but I can't see them going much further.
No, I tend to agree with that. I think, again, an aging side and the heat's going to get to them as well, possibly. They've got some brilliant players, obviously. Some of the finest players, but they're well over the top now. Some of the Modric's of this world, and still great players, but they're not going to be able to cover the grass like they used to, I don't think. So I don't think Croatia will go deep, but I think they'll get out of the group convincingly enough.
I wouldn't write them off. Their recent form's been pretty tidy. They lost 3-0 to Austria, and then they went on a run. They drew 1-1 with France, and then they beat Denmark, France. They beat France again, Denmark, and then Austria, and then they've won their recent friendly against Saudi Arabia. So they've strung together 5 wins in a row and a draw against France, and they beat France. So they're recent form's really, really competent. Typically, there's always one goal in it, so they're just being very solid. But I wouldn't write them off. They're one of those teams that can sneak past. I mean, if you remember, their deep run in the World Cup was, I think they won 3 games on penalties, didn't they? So you never know.
We'll see. Rani Granny says Canada should keep the plane engines running. Yeah. Right. Let's have a look at the poll for this one and see who people are going for. Well, Belgium are the people's favourites with 66%. Second are Croatia with 23%. And joint on 5% are Canada and Morocco. So there you go. That is how that poll has ended. Now, obviously, I do realise we've been on for an hour and a half now, so we'll quickly go through the other group, which is Group E, which is, again, I can only see 2 teams going through in this. We've got Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Alex, Spain first, is it?
Yep, Spain first.
So,
yeah, very unfortunate draw for Costa Rica there. But never mind. Younger squad this time for Spain. They have reshuffled a lot. Average player age of this France side
Spain
is like 25 or something. It's considerably younger. So scroll down. Ansu Fati's on the plane. We'll have to see how he does.
How do they expect it to take off?
Ferran Torres is on the plane as well, his Barcelona teammate. You've got Asensio, kind of somewhat surprising considering he's not playing much. Alvaro Morata is on the plane as well, with Dani Olmo from Leipzig, and Pablo Sarabia, who went to PSG. Midfielders, I mean, this is where they're pretty stacked. With Pedri, Gavi, Busquets, Rodri, Marcos Llorente. They've got Koke in there, Carlos Soler, Nico Williams, who, of course, is Iñaki Williams' brother, I believe. So it's quite interesting that one plays for Spain and one plays for Ghana. Jeremy Pino and Hugo Guillamon. And then defenders, they've got Jordi Alba.
Not there?
Sorry?
Is Marino not there?
Merino's not in the team at the moment. And nor is Thiago. That is a good point. Let me Google Merino when we. I'll Google him if you carry on. Let me just Google him.
Billy, your thoughts on Spain?
Yeah, they've lost a lot of the old guard. The likes of Ramos haven't gone. I don't think David De Gea is there this time. Transitioned maybe, but they're going to be a threat, I think, because they've got some absolutely fantastic players. But I just think maybe up front they lack a little bit of quality, and that might be what stops them from going really, really deep in the competition.
Yeah, interesting. Alex,
well, the big, Billy's obviously already mentioned the big shock is the keepers. Is they've got Unai Simon, Sanchez, and David Raya from Brentford. So Brighton and Brentford keepers getting the nod against David De Gea is hilarious. So yeah, I think SofaScore was correct. He's not in the team, so no Mikel Merino and no Thiago.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was right. Strange. I'm not sure. I've obviously read about the Thiago situation, but I never thought about Merino. I'm not quite sure what happened there. So let's keep going. Where do we get to? We got down to defenders. So Jordi Alba, who is definitely getting on a bit now. Carvajal, you've got Eric Garcia, Azpilicueta, Aymeric Laporte, Pau Torres, Jose Luis Gaya, and then the keepers we've already mentioned. I always think Laporte's French for some reason. I'm pretty sure he is part French, isn't he?
He could have played for France, couldn't he? I think he's from Andorra, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was always a bit surprised. I always forget when he's in the Spain squad. I always just assume he's French for some reason. So yeah, it's essentially, without writing the group off too much, without a Japanese sort of assault on normality, I think it's going to be either Spain or Germany. Spain are a strange one. They could field an 11 that's really old or an 11 that's really young or a combination of the two. It just depends how they want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just played a friendly today against Jordan and they won 3-1. And that lineup, they went
She did
for.
well.
They went for Ansu Fati, Asensio, and Sarabi up front. So I would assume this might be a bit of rotation here. It doesn't seem like their strongest 11. They've got Soler, Koke, and Gavi in midfield. This is definitely not their strongest 11. So the thing is, the win against Portugal was probably a stronger lineup.
Jordan is quite easy for them, really, because Jordan are prone to leaving themselves open at the back, aren't they? So.
Good, they've got good two up front now. To be fair to them,
they're a bit better up top, but I think that they're slightly aging now, Billy. They've gone a bit sag.
Yeah,
so they're a little saggy up front.
They do flatter to deceive. They're a bit fake,
absolutely,
aren't they?
yeah. So I'd write them off. Anyway, Alex, we'll quickly go through Costa Rica.
Yeah,
another one of Jordan Saints. Another one of Jordan Saints.
So, do you know any Costa Rican players?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, there's Brian.
Keylor Navas is Costa Rican.
Brian Ruiz, is he still playing?
He is still playing. He
is
in the midfield.
Shout, Billy, good shout.
So you've got Joel Campbell up front for them.
Of course.
The
old Arsenal player,
people might remember.
Yeah.
You've got Brian Ruiz is still there. People from the top 5 leagues that you might know. Oh, I'm struggling here. They've got somebody at Hoffenheim. I don't know any of these players. I really don't. I know Keylor Navas for PSG is their number 1 goalkeeper. He is the biggest name in their squad. They've got a few players here. I'm not seeing many club badges I recognise, and I play a lot of Football Manager, so that's really concerning.
Well, obviously, Japan are going to be in the same boat, Alex. I mean,
you'd be surprised. A lot of them play sort of in Germany and stuff.
Yeah, but is Muto there this time?
For Japan, right. Well, we'll swiftly move on to Japan. How have Costa Rica been doing, by the way? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Iraq, Costa Rica today got cancelled. Don't know why. They were meant to play at 2:00 this afternoon.
Quiet, Billy. Don't say anything.
They beat Nigeria 2-0 most recently. That's a very good result. They beat Uzbekistan. They got a draw with South Korea. They beat New Zealand. So not bad. They managed to beat USA in a friendly. It wasn't a friendly. It was a CONCACAF in March. So not terrible results, to be fair. I can't say I've seen them play in the last few years at all. Obviously, a lot better than I'm giving them credit for when I'm looking through the squad, because the results seem to be there. So you never know. We'll give them a chance.
By the way, Barbara says she knows Costa Coffee, and that's about it. Not Costa Rica.
What was the Costa Rica Iraq game cancelled? Because I had a bet on that game.
You had a bet on that game?
I thought it was in the Baghdad.
Oh, dear God. Baghdad. Oh, that's... by the way, Jim's made a comment about Jordan's football team, saying they're easy. Open at the back, better up top, but you can go deep. No, definitely
Japan.
Not
anyway,
yes, swiftly.
So no Yoshinori Muto, unfortunately, but there are some names that people will know. So of course, Minamino, who was at Liverpool, is currently at Monaco. You've got a few players playing European football in Europe. I guess European football. Celtic were playing European football with Daizan Maeda. You have also got in midfield some names that people will know in Kubo, who was at Real Madrid and is now at Real Sociedad. He was partnering Isak as we bought him. Played the first few games with him. You've also got Mitoma, who is playing very, very well for Brighton at the moment, and everybody's sort of singing his praises. Ritsu Doan for Freiburg. You've got players for Stuttgart in here, for Sporting. So they're playing in strong leagues. So no joke. It's always important to look at the league strength when you look at these sorts of squads, and they've got some good pedigree here. Defensive names: Tomiyasu, of course, for Arsenal, very important. They've got Itakura from Mönchengladbach. Yoshida is at Schalke in Germany. Ito at Stuttgart. Yeah, impressive teams.
Right. I mean, Billy, your thoughts on Japan? I mean, I don't know. There could be dark horses in the group. You just never know.
They're ranked 24th as well, so not that far down.
They've got a bit of pace in the side, haven't they? You know, I think there might be a bit of a threat, but again, you just look at those top 2 teams in the group and you think they're going to be struggling. I like Tomiyasu at Arsenal. I like the lad at Celtic. But I just don't see him progressing, unfortunately.
I mean, that counter-attack with Mitoma, Kubo, and Minamino all running at you is not bad at all.
As long as they don't go 2 kamikaze, they'll be all right, I think.
They did lose 2-1 to Canada today. Oh, God.
Yes. Well, that's literally Japan written off then. Right, we'll finish the show with our good old, the old rivals, Germany.
All right, we'll talk about Germany. Weird form recently. Draw, win, loss, draw, win. Lots of draws in there. The loss was to Hungary. Obviously, the 3-3 draw that we played, probably one of our worst, apart from the Hungary game, that was one of our worst performances, and we still managed to draw 3-3. So Germany are a really funny one at the moment. They played yesterday against Oman, and they only managed to win 1-0. That's
not a good result at all, is it?
Well, they're 75th rated. That's really poor.
That went over everybody's head. I'll just stop making jokes.
I do like some of their players though. I love that Makoko is in the squad. I think that's brilliant. Is he 17 yet? He's got to be 17 now. He's super young striker for Borussia Dortmund. They played a strong team against Oman and they only got a goal. Goretzka and Gundogan in midfield with Sane, Havertz, Hoffman up front. Makoko. Yeah, they should. That's quite poor. Right, so I don't think they've got a chance.
I don't think they've got a chance. I think Germany. I think there could be a shocking Group E. I really do. I think Japan. I mean, we're writing them off, but you just never know. Germany aren't playing well at all.
Never write off the Germans.
No, you can't write off the Germans. I'll read names, and it's terrifying. Forwards. Unfortunately, he just missed out. But the forward line, of course, you've got the rat himself, Kai Havertz. Yusufa Makoko got picked. Karim Adeyemi also got picked, who's also a very, very good young talent. And Niklas Füllkrug, who I have never seen play football, but is in massively good form at the moment. What? All right.
Alex, you're pronouncing these German names like you're head of the Third Reich. I mean,
I will send you the name.
I know it's
send you the name.
I've seen him on FIFA. Is Werner not there, Alex?
Because he had a Team of the Week card in FIFA. That's how you will know him.
No,
so he's in real good form. That's the name.
No Werner. No Timo Werner.
He's injured.
Oh, right.
Timo Werner got injured, didn't he?
Niklas Füllkrug.
Well, because the U's got the 2 dots above it.
Umlaut, you mean?
Yeah, the umlaut. That's the one. So it's not Thomas Muller. It's not like a yogurt. It's like Müller. You say you have to do a bit of an to make it sound right.
Füllkrug.
Exactly. Their midfield is absolutely bonkersly stacked. Sane, Müller, Thomas Kimmich, Serge Gnabry, Musiala, Gundogan, Goretzka, Julian Brandt.
Alex, it's Gundogan. Please pronounce it properly.
Gundogan. Goretzka, Julian Brandt, Mario Götze, Jonas Hoffman, and David Raum. So they've got that's just ridiculous. That is a joke. That is possibly three lots of Champions League.
Well, they've got some really good individual players, but they don't seem to put it together as a team. But when
you think about it, when we list England, we'll talk about England on Saturday. But when all of us out loud, I'm pretty sure 90% will concur with me. We generally will say the names Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, and then we go, and then we're not sure who else we could pick in that double pivot if we needed to change it. That's going to be elite. And then you look at that midfield in the Germans have got with Müller, Kimmich, Musiala, Gundogan, Goretzka, Brandt. It's ridiculous. They've got 5 or 6 or even 7 more than competent players at that level. It's just unfortunate because we were traditionally always the team that was blessed with the midfielders, and now we've not got any. Anyway, defenders. Antonio Rudiger is in there. Nicolas Süle, Nico Schlotterbeck, of course. We saw him. He played against us in the 3-3, and we were also heavily linked with him, but he went to Dortmund. Kerrer for West Ham. You've got Matthias Ginter, who we were interested in. There were rumours he was on a free transfer, and he went to Freiburg. Freiburg, of course, doing quite well. Bella Kotchap got the call up for Southampton. Lucas Klosterman and Christian Günther as well is there. Why is it so funny? That's how you say his name. I'm not going to say Gunter.
Gunter! He dated a proper munter.
Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Manuel Neuer, and Kevin Trapp as the goalkeepers. Likely to be Manuel Neuer, as he had a wobble a few years ago, but he's fixed that and he's competent again. If I know Spain are tidy, but that German side is ridiculous, and they should be topping that group. They just should be, because it is a filthily good squad.
Let's see what the viewers think in the Pearl.
Who's managing Germany these days? Who's managing Germany? It's not our friend Joachim Löw. Herr Flick.
Don't talk. Herr Flick? Was he not in Alolo?
Hans-Dieter Flick.
Do you remember Herr Flick, Billy?
Of course I do.
Right, who will win Group E? Germany have finished on top with 62% of the votes. Spain, funny enough, second with 32% of the votes. And then a tie at the bottom end of the table with Costa Rica and Japan, both with 3%. I think Japan should be a little bit higher, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, if Germany or if one of them have a shocker, if Spain or Germany have a wobble, Japan are more than capable of hitting a couple of goals on the counter-attack. So there could be an upset. It's another one of those groups where if Japan can get 4 points from somewhere, they might get second. There could be an upset. You never know.
Well, spacebar there. Herr Flick of the Gestapo. Indeed. Right. That is it for the first part of the World Cup show. We'll have the other 4 groups on Saturday. Keep an eye on the channel for the time. Obviously, I will promote it out on the socials as well. Tomorrow, we have the crazy that is TTR Friday at 8 o'clock. Time to just let your hair down before the start of the World Cup and enjoy the end of week with us 3. And Jimmy and Roy, I think, will be joining us tomorrow as well. So it should be an absolute great show and a really good laugh. So if you want to start your weekend off in the right way, TTR Friday tomorrow at 8 o'clock is the place to be, where football takes a little bit of a backseat. We talk about anything. I'm sure we'll have some World Cup stories from Billy Bob Trey tomorrow. Hopefully not involving tortoises or fornicating anywhere, but we'll find out. But listen, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all the super chatters today and the new members, of course. Thank you to them. The Mod Squad, fantastic job as per usual. And thank you to Billy and Alex for your company tonight, and also mainly to you guys out there. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending your Thursday night with us. If you have enjoyed the show, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new to the channel and like what you see, why not subscribe? It is free to do so. Hit the subscribe button and also that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload a video. Become a member of the Toon Review by hitting the join button. We've got lots of members giveaways during the World Cup. So become a member and get yourself in for a chance to win some prizes. And also follow us on the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, TikTok, if you're into your tactics. That's basically it. We'll be back tomorrow, shining brightly like a star in the sky. Billy will be ready. God knows what's coming from Jimmy. Roy will be very much ready to go for the World Cup out there in Qatar. So it should be an absolutely fantastic show. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will see you at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Take care.
Away the lads and lasses.